Hey guys, John V from Phone Arena here. I'm live from MWC 2014 here in Barcelona, Spain, and the Samsung press event just wrapped up. And doing a quick hands-on first look here between the Samsung Galaxy S5 and the Sony Xperia Z1 or Z1S, depending on where you're at. So the Z1S, of course, the Z1S is Sony's existing flagship smartphone. Of course, the S5 being the newcomer, is coming out sometime in April. And first and foremost, let's just take a look at their designs. Now, the S5 is notable for having a different rear casing. It's a little bit bolder with the color options and the pattern it has. It has a nice rubbery texture, similar to what we saw with the Galaxy Note 3 back casing. And it just has a very vibrant and colorful palette, which is nice. It's still made of plastic though, which in turn gives it a very lightweight feel, but the construction doesn't have the sturdiness that we see with the Sony Xperia Z1. Z1 is pretty solid, has a nice industrial design, some hard lines, and would be a little bit more favorable to the Z1S design more so just because of that. On top of that, you have the glass front, glass back. Although it does exhibit a lot, it gets a lot of fingerprints and smudges, it's still a very solid handset and looks nice too. Now they're both, well, to an extent, they're both able to survive some splashing with water, but the Z1S goes a little bit further by being able to be submerged underwater, whereas with the Galaxy S5, that won't happen. It's just basically water resistant. So for taking it out in the rain, or if it's going to get splashed lightly, it'll handle that, but not complete submersion. So that's something you want to think about. Some of the other notable features with the S5 is that you have that heart rate monitor in the back, so you can check your pulse, and also has a fingerprint reader. It's two things that you don't find with the Sony Xperia Z1S or Z1. The displays, the Samsung Galaxy S5 has a larger 5.1-inch 1080p Super AMOLED display versus the 5-inch 1080p triluminous display of the Sony Xperia Z1S. Now they both have their unique attributes. It's really hard to say which one we like right now, but with the detail, it's going to be identical. They're both super sharp. Let's see if I could zoom in here so you can see how nice and clear that the two displays are. So even from a close distance, they exhibit a lot of fine details. Really crisp looking, so there's no complaints about that. But as far as the color reproduction and also their viewing angles, it depends on your taste. If you like those saturated colors that has a nice glow to it, the Samsung Galaxy S5 is going to appeal to you. If you want more natural colors, probably the Sony Xperia Z1S's display is going to be better for you. But the outdoor visibility right now seems like it's anyone's toss-up. We'd have to check outside, but it's worth noting that the Galaxy S5's display, as Samsung states, puts out 500 nits of brightness, which is pretty impressive for an AMOLED display. Looking at the viewing angles, you could see just more distortion going on with the Xperia Z1S's display, whereas with the Super AMOLED display, the S5, it just maintains its clarity. And when it comes to cameras, they both feature some beefy ones. So on the Sony Xperia Z1S, you have a 20 megapixel autofocus camera. See if I can just focus this here for you folks. So you have a 20 megapixel autofocus camera versus the 16 megapixel autofocus camera of the S5. So they're pretty beefy. Who knows how they're going to fare against one another, but it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they fare in that regard. And of course, their processors, you have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 CPU in the Z1S, and you have a newer Qualcomm Snapdragon processor with the Samsung Galaxy S5. Looking at it right now, it's pretty much a toss. It's pretty identical when it comes to the performance. Then again, we're just checking out the home screen, not doing anything processor intensive, but they look to be pretty much responsive for the most part. And the custom interface is gonna depend on your taste. If the Galaxy S5, of course, has a ton of features. It caters to your life, so your health, your fitness, stuff like that. The Galaxy S5 is going to be more for you. But don't count out the Z1S just because it has a very stylish UI with the Xperia UI that it boasts. So when you go through things like the music player, the Walkman music player, or even things like the gallery, the album, it has a very distinctive look, a very stylish appeal, and it's definitely something that gives the S5's UI a good run for its money. But that's a quick look at the two devices, guys. If you want to learn more about either of them, you can check out our website, phonearena.com. It's John V. Thanks for watching.